Every day is an adventure on the road for a truck driver. You never know what's just over that next hill. My adventure began in February 2002. I am Richard Goon, better known as the Truckin' Rooster, and this is my story. Welcome to the Tales from the Road.
How y'all doing? Welcome back to the Tales from the Road. This is a good one here. Good lesson about trucking brokers. Right? So this is back when I was with Navajo. Of course, it was about 2009. And I was down in Oklahoma. And they called me up and they said, hey, listen, we got this new account that we're just starting, so this is going to be our first run, so we're going to give you the first one. And they said what it is we're going to be hauling firewood. And they said it's no problem. They go to the farm and they got the firewood already in these big bins, you know. And they'll just put them up on the trailer with a forklift, and you know, you just bring it back here to Denver, and they'll unload it, you know, no problem. So they give me, you know, this load assignment. I get empty, so I go over, and well, it's about 6 o'clock in the morning, and you know, I'm going to this place, such and such a farms, you know, so I'm thinking, you know, there's all kinds of places, you know, like produce warehouses and stuff that are called farms. So I'm going down this country road looking for a warehouse, and got it in my GPS, and I come up on it, and all of a sudden I'm at this little like crossroads, you know, and I turn left on this other country road. And like my GPS is saying that this is it, but I don't see nothing here. But I look and there's this little farm, you know, on the left here. So I'm thinking, well, I'm like, this must be it, you know. So this guy comes and he pulls up next to me in a pickup. I roll down the window and he's like, you know, what are you looking for? And I say, well, I'm looking for such and such a farms here. He's like, well, yeah, that's us over here. And he's like, well, what are you picking up? And he's like, we normally just load flatbed, you know. And I said, well, I was picking up a load of wood here, you know. And he's like, man, so we ain't never loaded no trailer before. And he said, well, go ahead and go down here and turn around. Now, mind you, I could have just backed up, straight back, and made a left, went right back into the gate, you know, into the farm. Anyway, this guy's like, go down here, you know, and there's a turnaround down at the bottom here. You know, you go down the street here about a mile or so, turn around, come back up or whatever. So I'm going and going and going. You know, of course, this is just before 6 a.m., so it's still kind of dark out. And I'm going down this road, and I'm not seeing this turnaround. All of a sudden, I look up on my GPS, and I see nothing but a blue streak. And I was like, what the heck? And there is coming, and the road just dead end right into the river. And then when I got down there, too, it was a windy road, man. It was like, and then now I'm just sitting here looking at this freaking river. So I get out, and finally the sun started coming up, so I had to back out, wiggle my trailer back around these curves, and then I found this little tiny turnaround that this guy was talking about. So I flipped around, went back up to the farm anyhow, got up there, and pulled up there, and they don't even have a dock, you know, or anything. So Now, the reefers that we had were, all the new reefers were those reefers that were made with the drive-in dimensions, and so these would have fit. Now all we had to do is lift them up with the forklift, and have the guy on the on the trailer with the hand jack and lift them up, and they could have just loaded them straight down side by side. So anyway, well, we had just so happened that we just had a few of those old Loprino reefers left that were just normal regular reefers, and with the thick walls, we only had a few of them left, and that day I had one of them. So we had to take, and one at a time, they lifted these crates up. He'd take one, put it in the trailer, lift it with a hand jack, push it back, and then we had to lift another crate up, hand unload it, restack the firewood next to the crate like that, because the two crates wouldn't fit side by side. So we had to hand stack one side, and then just all the way to the back of the trailer. We did this. And anyway, as I talked to the broker, and the point was, when I talked to the broker, he's like, oh, he said he just got his broker's license, he was new, and he couldn't afford to pay a flatbed to haul the wood, so that's why he just called us to haul it. That's the whole reason why we were doing it, because he just couldn't afford to pay to have the flatbed move it. So we get this thing loaded up anyway, and I drive over to the little scale. There's a little scale house, the little farm scales over there. You pay like $5 to scale out. Got a gross weight. I think it's like 82,000 pounds or something, man. And I'm like, you know what? We haven't been through so much crap today. I said, screw it. So I took the back roads out of Oklahoma back up into Colorado. Went around the scales in Colorado, and made up to my delivery the next morning, and so I get out there, and there's this big place that sells all kinds of firewood, and of course he is equipped for unloading flatbeds, because that's all they do. They just come up with a big forklift, pick them up, lift them off, and he's out of there. So now this guy, he's looking at me too like I'm crazy. He's like, what the heck are we gonna do to how are we gonna get this stuff off of here, So he comes up, and he gets his big, the big bucket loader there. We're hooking him up, to a chain, dragging the ones that are in the bins off so he can pick the bins up and take them off of the truck. And then we had to take the loose firewood and throw it into the bucket of the tractor, and then he had to go dump that, so we had to do this. And anyway, when I got there, they told me, they said, well, you can just go, they said, you can just take this load out there and drop it, and we'll call labor ready, and we'll send some people out there. Or if you want to do it, then you can do it yourself. And I thought, well, I can make some good money doing this. So I said, no, that's all right. I'll do it myself, and I'll make a little bit of money, and probably save the company a whole lot of money from what they would have to pay, labor ready to send these guys out there. So anyway, the broker actually comes out, and he's helping me, unload the trailer, man. And he's just like, oh, just thanking me. He's like, oh man, I really appreciate this. He's like, he's like, this thing's just been a mess, and I've hardly made any money off of this, but I'm trying to get started and take care of the customer, and like so he said, well, you know, he said, well, what do you want? You know, I mean, what do you want? You know, because we was out there for like pretty much all day, like 8 hours. We was out there throwing firewood, and he's like, well, what do you want? You know, for this? And I said, well, I think I told us, well, I'd take about, you know, I'd like to get about $200, you know, for this. I mean, we've been busting our butts, you know, not only loading it, but, you know, unloading it here. So I'd like to get about $200, you know. So this guy, he, you know, shake my hand. He's like, oh man, no problem, man, no problem. He said, I'll give you that. So anyway, you know, so we finally got done out there, and I turned in everything and wrote up a receipt for $200, you know. And the next, you know, when I got paid for the trip, I got paid for the lumper, that's $200. Well, like a week or two later, I noticed there's like $200 missing from my paycheck, you know. So I called them. I'm like, hey, what the heck? And they said, well, that lumper. They said the lumper is refusing to pay. I mean, the broker is refusing to pay for the lumper because he said he said it wasn't authorized. And I said, that's bullcrap, you know. I'm like, the man, he asked me how much I wanted. I told him 200. He shook my hand and said it was fine. And they said, well, you know, there's nothing we can do about it because he's refusing to pay because he said he didn't authorize this. So anyway, I go back and I said, well, I said, you know, I did this myself, you know, and saved you guys from having to pay labor ready hundreds of dollars to send people out there, and now you just took away my lumper money, and you're saying that I don't get nothing, you know. And anyway, they're like, well, you know, we'll pay you like an hourly rate or something. So I think I ended up getting like $50 to $100 out of it that they gave back to me, out of the whole freaking deal, man. And it sucked, man. So anyway, and as it turns out, that that was the first and last load of reefer firewood that we hauled, because after the whole mess and everything, and with that guy, and yeah, the company just said no, it was just not worth it. But you know, people will try anything to save a buck, but you know, it was interesting, that's for sure. Alright, we will see y'all later.